Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. We'll start now.
Perfect.
So, Euphoria ATX. Today I'm doing a very chill interview with one of our favorite musicians locally, Chucky Blk.
What up?
What up? Chucky, first words, say hi to everyone.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? How are y'all doing? Invisible internet friends, in a COVID world.
Having a TED talk right now.
Right, exactly. Well, today I present you dark matter. I'm just kidding.
I guess we'll just get started.
Yeah.
The last time that we saw you in real life, IRL,
Yeah.
you were at our, what's it called? The Roaring Twenties show on the
Yeah.
rooftop in West Campus. We actually got to have a live show. You rocked it. We have some videos on our YouTube that show it, but
Thank you.
just wanted to check in emotionally. How have you been since then in these many months that have passed? Like that was
Yeah.
good.
That was in 2020, right?
Yeah, it feels like ages, but yes.
That feels. I was like, man, back in 2017 when I did that Roaring 20 show. But it makes that Roaring 20 for the 20. Yeah, no, that was a great show. Just by the way, I had like a weekend of shows. I think that one turned out to be the best. That was the other ones were just kind of like, I will never do that again. But that one was fun. Yeah, no, it's been interesting. Like it feels like so long. It's like I can't believe it's November and my birthday's around the corner. I was like, when this all happened, I was like, my girlfriend, her birthday's in April, and I was like, that sucks. You have to deal with quarantine, but by November, I won't. And we're at a second spike in Texas.
I did the same thing. My birthday's in October. I was like, can't be me. I'm gonna be on sick. But no.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And so it's a new world. I've been trying to figure out what to do with all my time. So like, it's actually it's been odd. I feel like with COVID, I've been like the most creatively successful, if that makes any sense, like or productive. I think I released like 2 or 3 different tracks so far, and I still have a couple in the bag for the rest of the year. Which is like, that's just like it's like almost double my input. So it's a lot. It's been like I don't know, once I get past the fact that I get past the fact that I accept that the world is like this, like we just have to be inside. This is just the new normal until I know a cure or something comes around. Once I've accepted it, I've been able to like work with it rather than try to obstruct the stream. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. I was gonna ask actually how your creative process has maybe your usual creative process and like how it's differed with COVID. Because obviously like I want to know like how quarantine played into like this specific album and your any work you've done in the past months, how that's changed from your usual approach.
Yeah, no, it's I feel it's like, we've like had these like great technologies where like, I can hop on a Google meeting and talk to homies in California, Chicago, and Amsterdam, and I feel like in the past I'd be like, why would I do that? I have friends in town. Why don't we just work with those people in person? And I think throughout this year and last year, a lot of my friends have moved out. Um, so I just really had to like fall in and like accept that, like, there's like this idea of like you'll never recreate the vibe of like when you're all in the studio chilling and like blah 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 blah, which is like true, but I think there's something to be said about the vibe of like doing it via like Google Hangouts. Like so I released a project in August with some friends in this group called Slug. It was called Loot Takers, and we produced every single track like across like 3 time zones, and would like have these Google Hangout sessions where we like be talking and chatting and like, all right, cool, let's split up for like 2 hours, let's see what we can do. We have this like little Excel sheet. I was like, I can work with anyone. This way. This is actually a very like kind of like cut the excuses. So I'm really hoping that like come like new year, for future like creative projects. So like I'm that this will just be a tool. It's like I don't have to leave my house. I got everything I need to record. You got everything you need to record at your place. let's like make music where we're most comfortable and then like come together that way. So I'm excited. I think that's the biggest change I've had.
Right. It's been good. I feel like if everyone's just as motivated or even more so right now. So it kind of brings people closer together in the music world, I feel like, because you're like, I
Yeah,
put my
exactly.
all into this little Zoom chat.
Right, right.
Yeah, as long as the motivation's still there, I think that's good. So with the album specifically, I want to know your recording process. And also, I mean, as the title suggests, this album is called A Scathing Critique of Current Affairs. It was just released right before the election, end of October. So very politically charged too. So I do know you probably have a lot to talk about it. This summer especially, but the last every day of the last 4 years and the weeks leading up have just they've just revealed so many weaknesses and injustices that are going on. So I wanted to know also in your recording process and in your songwriting process, were there any specific catalysts or activism that really motivated you and inspired the process?
Yeah, no, so it's strange. Which called I actually I had been like I've had like like bare bones. Like I didn't even have a title or whatever for this project, but I still have some like the early like songs like Empire Shakes on the project. Like I think I wrote and finished that song way back last December. And and these are like I feel like themes I like kind of like brush on in older projects, but I had this like weird aversion of being like political just because like maybe not political but like just like not wanting that to be like all of like what my music is. I think it's mostly because like leaving slam poetry, it was like I felt like I was on the other far end of it where the only thing I could talk about was like very political like meaning. But I think that I make this reference to the pendulum, so it's like you leave and you have to go complete other side to like even out in the middle. And like so I feel like this project really like I found like this renewed voice, this renewed need to say a lot of the things on it. The writing process, I mean, it's always interesting. It's like some songs can take me like 2 or 3 months to write, and as things happen around me, that's even more influence on the songs, or the influence on different lyrics. But then some songs, like just like I just remember it was called this summer specifically, there's like a cycle around like Black death and Black trauma that it's just like it's just like so hard to deal with. This year we're like dealing with a global pandemic, and we lost like we lost what's called Breonna Taylor to police violence. We lost Ahmaud Arbery, sue me, to like what's called white supremacist violence. We then later on, like the next George Floyd, we lost him to violence, and we continue to. And it's just like you I think I just you would think that what's called maybe a global pandemic would slow racism down. Maybe it'll just be like, hey, let's not be as racist today because I don't know, I don't want to catch COVID. It's the complete opposite. It's like this like, and it's like, of course not. I think it's like
Yeah.
that's a unstoppable force. Maybe not unstoppable. I don't want to like put a pessimistic view like that, but it does what it does. And like it a pandemic, we can tell like folks don't care about that. We got to get back to the status quo. So like I think there's a moment where I was just like sitting in like bitter anger, just like bitter anger and frustration because I can't find the strength to empathize with the situation, to go out to the protest and feel like I have to be angry. It's like I'm like done being angry. I've been through the cycle, so many different times, and it's like this. It's just sadness. It's like deep internal sadness because like shit happens and you're like, oh, we get it. It happens every 6 months. It's like it doesn't happen like that. It's affecting and brutalizing people every day, and like that's like a pessimistic, like not even pessimistic, that's a sad worldview to think that like people are being like crushed under the heel of white supremacy every day. And like when you really like take off the rose colored red, white, and blue like shades and like kind of like see what that's on purpose. That's like the structure built into the American DNA. You know what I mean? So
It's
like I mean, I thought like it's like the creation of this project felt like kind of like prophetic, just because like, you know, it's like I was like writing on these themes about collapse, corruption, all this other shit, and then like, you know, we really had like a biblical plague hit us, and like to see all like to watch all the cracks and like the weak points of this infrastructure like slowly fold in on itself. Um, I know it's kind of scary, and I think on top of that, it's like those themes, but then it's like I can't help but notice hurricanes are getting stronger, and wildfires are like also getting stronger, and like folks are struggling with water right now. Not me, but there are places in the United States struggling with water, and how that's going to just become like that's a, you know, it's like
Biblical proportions of bad stuff going on.
exactly. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling right now, but it's like
No,
so much. It's like, all right, God damn it, like white supremacy. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse in here, but
of course.
all right, cool. But then it's like global warming. You know, this like, you know, it's like and I think I describe it as it's like to me they're both existential threats to like humanity as a whole. You know what I mean? One's just like more like in this like ideas realm, and the other is like Mother Nature, like
Really, yeah,
you know.
imploding our own world.
Exactly. So I have a lot. That being said, I have a lot being said in this album, and
Yeah,
still a lot to say about this certain issue. So
exactly. That's why I loved. I mean, I've been listening to the album like the last couple days, both in preparation and because I love it. I think it's really good, and
thank you.
yeah, and like talking to you just kind of like it also affirms that like it's so it like you're saying everything that what we're thinking inside. Like everyone is just so internal right now and is like I'm going to explode because there's so much sadness and so much stress and like the
Mm,
world is literally dying and like systemically everything is fucked up. So
yeah,
like, it feels so good to have an album like this one that really just bluntly puts it out but in like a really poetic way. Like I was
yeah,
I was thinking a lot about like one of your big ideas is like kind of this mirage of like the American dream and like how like now like this mirage has been broken. Like now people are aware
mm,
that like through illness, through unemployment, through racism, through global like climate change and stuff, there's so many ways that people have not been helping people. So
yeah,
like that was what really moved me through it. And I thought you did it like in a very poetic way. You mentioned like slam poetry. Like I
yeah.
just want to know if you had any other thoughts on like your own lyricism and how like poetry and rap like inspired your words and like how you viewed the world around you.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's really cool. Like, thank you again for that. Like, you know, I can hope. You know, I was just like I like was listening to like because I also like mix and master to this whole project myself. And I didn't even answer the recording process is just like me in my room. Like, I just have my mic set up over here, and like
Okay.
you know, I like will put some sound panels up to make it sound a little better. But that's my recording process. I didn't answer that initially. Um, but you know, I was like listening to like I was listening to these masters just like over and over and over. I was like, man, I hope I'm just like not too ranty right now. You know, that's like I like one of the things I hate is like the music video where the rapper starts and he's in front of like the classroom, like he's preaching to everybody and like takes his position of power. I was like, no, I'm just like, I think, you know, there's a quote in like I guess it starts the verse out in the song Top of My List. And it actually low key, I'd be biting shit from like Carl Jung and like like folks like that all the time.
I
But I
was
think the
noticing all,
line goes like, what's up?
I was noticing all the quotes that you slipped in. I loved it.
Yeah. There's this line. It goes, artists be the artists can speak to the psychic secrets of the time, and it's just like I feel like so many art, it's like doesn't reveal anything intricate. You know, what I mean, it's just like I think I listened to this. It was like kind of like it's like a fish being like, "Hey, the water's great," and another fish being like, "What water?" You know, what I mean, I think the artist is like, there's like this other thing around us that we all know, but like don't have the words to. So like I feel like that's like my biggest goal, and that's my biggest goal when I go into creating art. It's just like I'm trying to like tap into like what is the pulse, what is like going on with everyone around us, or like how brutally can I be honest with myself to reign a truth for everyone. And so like you know like I was like you know catch me like 2 years ago and like people would be at an interview and they're like, "You're a slam poet artist." So I would be like, "No, I'm not. I'm the artist." I used to go by Chucky Blk, but Chucky Blk the rapper now. But like again, like that pendulum swung and like it's back to the center. So it's really cool. I think there's a track called Prequel 2 on the project, and that one's just like it's me kind of like it's very much so inspired by the Gil Scott Heron poem "Whiting on the Moon," and so which called that one was like I was like this is like very inherently like a poem with a lot of the rap skills I've picked up so far, which I'm like really proud of. I'm like I usually like turn my nose at like any sort of like spoken word poetry. And I think I just like actually love this piece. I mean,
Very cool.
So I think it's like that's just like my goal as far as like being an artist is it's trying to like tap into like what's really going on. And like and it's like it's weird because like we talk about the mirage of like the American dream. It's like I try to like think of everything from like all sides, and it's like there's the American dream in which like folks are like leaving their country to come here. There's like so many I hear so many immigrant stories that's like part of like my family's story, what I mean? And so there's like this weird it's like I want to hold true to that ideal. I would like to hold true that America is this land of the free. But then there's like the American dream where it's like, oh, I want my like 3 to 4 bedroom home, 2.5 bath, white picket fence, Johnny goes to church and blah, 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 blah. And we're in the 50s, and yeah, the blacks just like live over there.
Yeah, the American dream, the Caucasian American dream.
Exactly. And so it's like I feel like that. I think that especially is so like it's like you said with unemployment, with like these looming like environmental catastrophes, like you gotta question it. There's like like there are places in the world who are making strides as far as like giving a good life to their folks and to their people, excuse me. And the more we have access to seeing that, the more we're just like, all right, cool. This is like maybe a dream to keep everybody asleep.
Yeah, there is too much of a gap in between. There's so many people being ignored to please the people that do have this American dream at the very top. So it really makes it, times like this where literally people are sick because there's a pandemic and people are dying, and it just makes it even more grossly aware of it.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to like, what is this dream built on? And I think I try to touch on that so often. It's just like, bro, this is like it's like one thing. I think I heard somebody say it was like, the atrocities of America like really aren't that different from the atrocities around the world. I mean, it's just the fact that the American people just don't accept it, can't accept it, and like so much like cognitive dissonance happens. I think there's like maybe folks going a little crazy. I mean, I think because they can't like. The truth will bubble up to the surface no matter what it is, I mean, and you can be like, try to ignore it, but like, there's that little shadow building up in the back of your consciousness. So like, however goody two shoes you think you are, that shadow will react with like, equal but opposite force, what I mean? But yeah.
I guess as one more political, because the whole album is political. Obviously, you released this album before the election, and I reached out after, which is we probably could have had some different discussions before the election. I was just going crazy that week.
No, I understand that. Same here.
But it is kind of an interesting perspective to look back after we now have results, and things are still ongoing, obviously, but like we do have results. But I guess in your opinion, like, what direction do you think the US needs to move to right all of these wrongs that you've discussed in Scathing Critique? And then, I mean, like, you don't have to like, obviously.
Well, here's my
And then like, whatever you feel your role is in activism as like a rapper and a musician, like it does. I'll let you say.
No. That's a wonderful question. It's weird, because like I would have a little more spice if like Donald Trump will win, but I think it's like it's still a spice for Joe Biden. I feel like it's like it's like one thing where it's like I just continually get so tired of, it's my third or fourth election now. Shout out,
Nice.
um, and it's just, it feels like it's continually like push for like a lesser evil. That's what it's imposed to, and like I don't think there's not very many people, at least in Texas where I'm at, or
Right.
but like holding my voice in the Senate or Congress. You know what I mean? Like really embracing like a more radically left kind of viewpoint. And so it's just like, it's cool. It's like there's like a certain stress where I'm like, okay, cool. We have this tyrant out of power. You know what I mean? I don't, and like tyrant is like, I don't want to say, yeah, he's a tyrant. I don't want to like downplay it. Like
He's
he
the
like
worst of the evils. Yeah, he's totally the worst.
exactly, he like created like this. It's not even created, tapped into this hidden cult of America. Like make America great again. Like I mean, it's like it's like it's like we think about the Tea Party and shit like that, and it's like, oh, that's a populist view. It's like, no, that was like white supremacy. White people were waking up and being like, hey, wait, this white country that we stole is not white. You mean all the people we hurt are like being like, I'm about to move over there and like get some of my like money and work, what I mean? And so it's like let's call it the MAGA train Trump just so like tapped into that, which is like, oh, that's there. Let's get them hype, I mean, let's allude to civil war. Let's like, even if like it's like part of me, it's like it's weird. I can't tell if it's like Trump is like not even weird. Like Trump is like, oh, I believe a white supremacist is a racist, what I mean? I don't care what he says, what I mean? But I can't tell if he's hitting it from the angle of like, oh, I'm rich, I'm just gonna manipulate poor people, you know what I mean? Or I'm like, or no, I'm just white, I'm gonna manipulate poor white people, you know what I mean? Either way, so it's like one breath of fresh air to have that out, but it's like, I mean, I feel like the Democrats were really like, let's do Joe Biden, like this very moderate, like by most standards would probably be like a light Republican, you know what I mean?
Republican light with the TE.
Right. And it's like I think what America needs is like a more embrace, like a bigger embrace of like more left politics. You know what I mean? I think I'm like so tired of every single election where I'm like, what the hell is this? What you call it? First of all, seeing the gerrymandered districts in like Texas, you know what I mean? I saw there's like this meme. It's like, who's that Pokemon? And it looks like an Onyx. And it's just like, it's Texas second congressional like district. And I was like, what? This is ridiculous.
They're insane.
And it's just like, so it's like every time the electoral college comes up, I'm like, what is this? Like, why do we base our stuff in the two-party system? I just like would like to be able to vote for somebody and be like, oh, like, at least I have some voice in what's going on here. I just think it's like, it's like so many climate experts were like, hey, like, by like 2000 something, we should be doing that soft transition to, to what the new future is going to be. And it's like, none of that's happening. And we're getting closer and closer to the point where it's like, it's just going to take like radical change. Like it's like, what's called power plants close down overnight, and like, and it's like, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So, I think I don't know what the answer is to, as far as like talking about systematic racism. In my music, I'm trying to explore a place where that doesn't exist, where like, where I don't have to be subject to that, and a lot of the answers is like, yo, hop on the spaceship. We're going to like, I don't know, Andromeda, and like, there's probably like a planet of black folks there who are like technologically advanced and be like, hey, welcome home. You know what I mean? So I don't have an answer to that. I can be like, hey, white people read some more books about anti-racism, but sometimes I'll look at those book titles and I'm just like, oh man, how much change is this actually doing? But shout out to the authors. I can't, those books don't appeal to me because I know that, and I think it's more for other folks to tap into that. Reparations would be cool, keep on thinking about like, I don't know if you watch I guess Watchmen on HBO. Which that was like, wow, what a strange world, where it's like America, like think about like Black Wall Street, thinking about the violence inflicted on people, thinking about like the cages built for Black folks, you know. It's just like, and we built this shit, like, you know, like the economic base of the South, economic base of most American trade was like based on like slavery. And like that's like, I think one way to accept it and move on is to like be like, hey, yo, sorry about that. I understand our Southern regality is built on your blood and body. Let's like divvy up some of them, like those profits, you know. But like, do I think that's ever gonna happen? No. It's strange, but you
You want to
know,
like the South. I want
yeah, yeah.
so bad, and man, they suck.
So I don't know. I think people just like, I don't know, try to be more. I guess my goal is like to be more open hearted and just like, you know, I'm like trying to focus on the microcosm. I think as in that was like one of the big kind of like questions I had to ask myself, you know, especially when the protests were happening. Because I mean, I don't have particularly any organizational skills, you know. I mean, I'm like, I can talk all of this, you know, but this is like, you know, I'm not like a political theorist, you know. I'm not out
Yeah.
here like crafting legislation or have the skills to do that. All I can do is like, I think I came to is like, I can just report what I see. And like, y'all be it like how it is, y'all can take it logical, I'm gonna take it from the heart, I'm gonna take it from the spirit, I'm gonna call out what's around me. And that's like really all I can't. I mean, there's more I can do, especially like hopefully I'll get money and have a platform and can put people on, you know what I mean. But as of right now, my broke ass is gonna make raps in a way people can sit down and enjoy, and maybe sit down and listen and think about all this. So
Hell yeah, I love it.
I'm
Yeah,
so
I mean,
ranty this morning. I like haven't even had my coffee yet. So
fine.
shout out.
We're awake. I was gonna, yeah, to I guess to close that discussion about the album, and you kind of like you've said this, that your voice is really powerful, but I also think your voice is really powerful for this optimism. And like even in this literally like scathing critique, and like there's too many negative things that are happening, you've still managed to bookend the album with like optimism. And like I really, like I said earlier, I really enjoyed your quotes. I really liked I think it's the second last one, top of my list,
Yeah.
and the James Baldwin quotes, like I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive.
Yeah.
Loved all these, like I love the quotes, but even your like verses of like, I wrote it down. Rap is currently my version of climbing, unbinding self from the primal to find the sublime. When life gives me limits, it's all fine and dandelion. I delight in imperfections. That's my flow. But
Shout out. That was good. That was good though.
like I think you really tapped into this, what you've been talking about the whole time, is like we need to love each other. We need to be open-minded, and you're going to provide this voice for both the reality and the optimism that can be. And I've been listening to your music for a long time, since you've been
Thank you.
Euphoria. So I know that you also like you make these like beautiful worlds in your music. So yeah, I think, do you have any thoughts on just like being optimistic?
Yeah, no. So it's like, I think I think it's like weird philosophy I have as far as like even around like built when I was doing poetry, and I was like, how am I going to, what's the format of this set? I have 30 minutes to read poetry. And a lot of like the poetry I was writing was like deconstructing how like whiteness affects me, deconstructing like racist experience that happened in the past, you know, deconstructing like trauma, you know. And that's intense, you know, that's so much to handle. And so like I was just like, I remember one of my first poetry shows, I just did all sad poems, and everybody left the place sad. Everybody, like, you know, it was like a dark energy around. And I was like, you know, so it's like my philosophy is like, you can dig a hole, you know, you can dig a hole in these emotionally, like, you know, at least like provide a ladder, you know, out of it, you know what I mean? Like some sort of resolve, you know, just because like it's heavy, you know. I mean, it's like I remember like talking to my little sister, and she was like, you know, she was really feeling it like this summer, you know what I mean? She was like, you know, it's, and like so many others, people like so feeling it. And like I like get kind of emotional talking about it, because it's so dark and heavy, like, you know, I mean, to think that like, you know, oh man, I could just be going out for a walk, you know, and someone could kill me and be justified and like be free, and my mother be crying and blah blah. We'll have a whole trial, we'll have a whole court, we'll have like a whole hearing, and then we'll walk away free and then make money off of like that kind of like publicity, you know what I mean? And so it's like, we can talk. It's like, you know, it's like I just like don't know any answer outside of just like going within, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like honestly, it was a supernatural answer. Everybody was hit with the whole planet Earth was hit with an array of empathy that made people empathize with the deep-seated feelings of everyone around them. People wouldn't do shitty things to people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the answer, but will that happen? You know, 99.9% chance it won't happen, but you know, it's the universe. I know shit about it. So like
Yeah.
I'll give that one opportunity, you know what I mean? So it's like it's like one thing to like it's one thing to like point out to the inconsistency, to point out the darkness, to be in it, but it's like, you know, I know. I feel like the only reply is just like with my own personal philosophy. I think like it's like one thing like I'm an optimist because I'm alive, and like what I do with that, like it is like one of my like I think when I think about like my existential angst, you know, it's just kind of like how shitty would it be to win this cosmic lottery to like out of all the atoms combined, all the people to meet, to fall in love and do all these other things, like and have children and propagate for generations, for me to be born and let someone think the color of my skin is going to like affect my enjoyment or my like my experience. It's like this weird thing, you know, to let that affect me, to let that be the thing hold me down, that's bullshit to me. Like that's like I could never let that happen. And like what's really sad is like I've been doing a lot of therapy as well as far as like COVID goes. Y'all should do therapy. That's just crazy. It's like coming to terms with how it has affected me, you know, how it has stopped me from living a full experience. And like, nah, I'm trying to be myself authentically. I always say it, I'm trying to descale the dragon. I'm trying to get to like who I am at the core, you know. And like, you know, I'm happy right now. I can live and love and provide care for the people around me, my chosen few, you know, and that's how I choose to cause change in the world, you know. And I think, you know, that's what we got to tap into. And I think if enough people does that, damn, what a good world. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people try to like, I know it's like the messaging is trying to tell us that we're all separate, that we're all in our own bubbles, that we're all not connected, but we're so interconnected. Like I should be thinking how like, you know, I could be shitty to this person in front of me. They can go out and be shitty to somebody else. They can go out and be that person be shitty. That's a cycle of trauma. What the fuck? Why would I choose to put that into the world? So yes, it's like I think James Baldwin describes it as a love with a capital L, you know. It's not just like this foo-foo like Valentine's Day Hallmark shit. It's like I'm going to call you out on this shit because I love you and I feel like it's imperative to your existence to like understand that you are hurting me, you know, and let's get past that so we can like grow and build, you know. Because I'm a sci-fi boy. I want a galactic empire based, not empire, like a galactic like expansion of the human beings. I want to like be like, hey, yeah, we planet Earth, it was cool until we fucking killed it. You know what I mean? Or not even until it killed us, and then like 1,000 years later, it was like, all right, let's start this shit all over again. You know what I mean?
I need some more sci-fi themed albums from you.
Right. I've been thinking about it. I've been like rocking to some Philip Glass and some other sci-fi like instrumentals. I'm just like, I'm about to build a world. Watch out, Dune. Watch out, Frank Herbert, or whatever your name is.
Dude, yeah. You better do. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree. I think just this empathy and loving I mean, if you do it on an individual level and on a local level, it's gonna reach. It's gonna reach.
Right.
Really hope for as little people on the world is to be good people. So I guess in the spirit of that, to kind of close out, the Austin local scene and the Austin local rap scene is obviously kind of going through it right now with all COVID. I mean, now I guess live shows are kind of starting back up, but like everyone needs support all the time. So what are some good actions that we can take as fans and music lovers to support you and to support Austin rap scene, Austin local music scene right now?
I think it's like it's weird because it's like yes, I think musicians, Austin rap folks are like it's like hard not doing shows, it's one thing. I think just kind of just like peep in. I think Austin rap scene is kind of crazy right now. There's like so many people doing so many cool,
Yeah.
dope, artistically like I'm like inspired about the folks around me, by the folks around me. You know, it's just like just tap into that. Like I don't want folks to be like, yeah, Austin has a cool rap scene as soon as Complex is like Austin has a cool rap scene. I think folks in Austin should like Complex would be like Austin has a crazy rap scene, and they'd be like, hell yeah, we've been known about that. You know what I mean? That's the energy I think we need to go. I mean, like it's like a shit. Like y'all seen them posts. Like y'all can like the post, y'all can comment on the post, y'all can share the post, y'all can save the post. Like this algorithm shit. Like I don't get it. It's like
yeah, that's sci-fi to me.
right. I hate it. I hate like feeling like, oh, I just did this really cool work and now I have to sell it. You know what I mean? So like, you know, hit them up on Spotify. If you have 3 homies you think gonna like Chucky Blk music, send it to those 3 homies and just be like, hey, this person I really support. I think you would really like them. Check them out, please. Tell me what you think. Start a discussion. You know what I mean? I think it's like most rappers have a Bandcamp. Buy some stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, I appreciate that so much. You know, because it's like you know, my goal is to like I'm just trying to pay my bills off the words I write. You know what I mean? And like that's like it seems like such a lofty goal, but like you know. I can't imagine myself doing anything but that, yeah, which is sad, which I'm like, no. But
It's not
yeah, no,
fun for us.
I think tap in, just like, you know, like I think just top of my head right now, I'm thinking of follow Ukeme, like UKEME, fantastic rapper. You should follow Adrian and June. You should follow Mike Melano. You should follow DC for Prez. You should follow Kenny Casanova. There's like Ife Nero. There's so many dope rappers right now doing Swish 50. Like there's like so many dope rappers doing so many different things and so many different films of hip hop. It's just like you just can't go wrong. There's something for everyone here.
Yeah.
So I will yell that from the building. I think Austin has a crazy rap scene, and I'm like a weird hermit in the corner. But like, shout out, we out here. That's my corner. Yeah.
Thank you so much for all your time. Also, shout out, give them your own Instagram.
Oh yeah, no, Chucky Blk, Chucky.blk. You can follow me anywhere on with that. It's black without the AC because we're too hot, you know what I mean? Are too cool. I don't know how to say that phrase yet, but Chucky Blk, follow me there. Spotify. Hopefully, I think I had an opportunity of like covering a Death Grip song that I think is going to be released here in the next 2 weeks. And it's like definitely way different than anything I've done, but I kind of love it. So that might be a new avenue, Chucky Blk, and like a hardcore, like heavy metal kind of scene, you know, maybe. Yeah, follow me there. And like, you know, I'm trying to, if you like cool sci-fi pics, I repost those pretty often. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We love you at Euphoria, ATX.
I love y'all, so I appreciate it.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad we were able to talk. This was so good and fulfilling, and I feel like I'm gonna walk on air the rest of the day. Feel good.
Oh yeah, I'm just in my like room. It's whatever.
Love your lights, by the way.
Oh, thank you. LifeX, you know, Wi-Fi connected. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna shout them out, get a brand deal.
Right. Give me that sponsorship, you know.
Any last words of encouragement before we sign off for the time?
I guess what you call it. This is just like in general for anybody. This is like it's gonna be so left field.
Love it. No,
freedom, like discipline, like breeds freedom. So like I just been really about like setting schedules for myself, like you know, setting like breaking habits and starting habits. I think if anything COVID taught me is just like boom, a global pandemic can stop everything you're doing and you have to like figure out what you really want in your life. So it's like build good habits. It's really not that hard. You know, there's plenty of audiobooks about it. Just like, you know, that's just one thing I'm discovering about my life.
Good.
But live your life, you know, shout out.
Expanding our minds. Thank you, Chucky Blk.
Hell yeah, have a good one. Auf Wiedersehen.